Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unit 5, Week 4. This week, our essential question is, what sounds can you hear and how are they made? So, as we're going through our different stories this week, I want you to think about all the different sounds that you hear at home and outside, and think about how those different sounds are made. For this week, our spelling words have the ow sound. So we have OU says ow, and so does OW. They both make the ow sound. Our words this week are cow, town, mouse, how, out, mouth, and we have some review words from the previous week: born, roar, and some sight words, nothing and early. Now, I do want to point out that when we're trying to figure out whether to use the OU or the OW, OW is usually heard at the end of a word and sometimes in the middle. So, an example is cow. We hear the ow sound at the end. And in town, it's in the middle. Ow, town. And for OU is usually heard at the beginning of the word and sometimes in the middle. So a word like ounce, or here one of our spelling words, out, or we have it here in the middle, mouth, ow, mouth. So these are our words. I want you guys to practice reading these and spelling these. You can do rainbow writing. You can practice writing them in a sentence, spelling them out loud. Maybe you could go out on the driveway and do some sidewalk chalk and practice writing these words. Our sight words, also known as our high frequency words for this week, are color, early, instead, nothing, and thought. You do not have to be able to spell these words, but we want you to see and say them. So let's not try to sound these out. You should be able to see and say them. So again, you can practice writing these in sentences, or when you're reading your different stories for the week, see if you can find these words while you're reading. Next, we have our oral vocabulary. And these are words that you do not have to spell or read, but it's really good if you can read them. What we want you to be able to do is understand their meaning so that you can use them correctly when you're speaking to someone. And I would encourage you to practice using these words while you're talking with your friends and family. So the first word we have is distract. And that means that something or someone is taking away your attention from something that you are really trying to focus on. Distract. Next, we have nervous, which means that you're worried. And then we have senses. And senses are those 5 senses that we have: see, touch, hear, feel, and taste. And your senses help to give you more information about the world around you. Squeaky is a very high-pitched sound. So not always pleasant to listen to, very high-pitched. Some people say that mice can be squeaky, or maybe there's a squeaky door that can be annoying. Next, we have volume. Volume is just the level of sound. So it could be loud, it could be quiet, it could be medium. Volume just is the level of sound. Next, we have suddenly. And suddenly means that something happens very quickly. And last, we have scrambled. And this means to do something quickly, such as to climb quickly or walk quickly. So maybe you scrambled to get in line so you could be the first in line. So scrambled. Okay, these are our words for this week. Again, practice using them when you're speaking at home with your friends and family. Next, we have grammar. And this week, we're going to be looking at suffixes, comparative inflectional endings, and using an, using a, and, this, and that when we're speaking and writing. So, suffixes are a group of letters added to the end of a word that changes the meaning. So, some of our suffixes we have are or, ful, full, less, less, and ly. The or, when you add that to a noun, it tells us a person who does something. So, for example, a tailor is someone who makes clothes, okay? We add the or to the end of tail and we get tailor, and that is someone who makes clothes for people. Ful, which means to be full of, when you add that to a word, it changes the meaning. So if we have joy and we add ful, we get joyful, and now we know that this person is full of joy. Less, which again means without. If we add that to a word, so we have sound. If I put less on the end, I get sound less. And now it means that something is quiet. It makes no sound at all. And last, we have ly. And again, that means that it's in a way that is. So if I said that someone was stomping loudly, it means the way that they was stomping was very loud. They was doing it in a way that was loud, so loudly. Next, we have comparative inflectional endings. And this is a spiral review for us. So we have ER, which we add to the end of a word when we're comparing two things or two people. And we have EST when we're comparing three or more things or people. So down here I have long, longer, and longest. If I was comparing two things, let's say I have two snakes, I might say the green snake is longer than the black snake. There were only two snakes, so I added ER to the end of long. Let's try to use longest. I know that in my classroom, I typically have more than 3 people in there. So I might say that Riley has the longest hair in my classroom. Because there were more than 3 people in my class, I was able to add EST to the end of long and say that Briley has the longest hair in the classroom. Next, or the last thing we're going to talk about this week is using a, and, this, and that. And typically, we use a after a word that starts with a consonant, such as I am a construction worker. We use an after a word that starts with a vowel. So I might say, I am an architect. We use this for when we're speaking about a noun that is close. So I might say, let's sit in this chair. And then we use that when we're speaking about a noun that is far. So I might say, can you see that cat across the street? That is everything that we are working on for grammar for this week. I hope you guys have a great week.